Saints. But we know what that means. What's that mean? Who dat? What's that mean with Jim? Huh? Who dat? Who's there? Who's there? That's what it is. How about shut the door? Shut the door. Yeah, he'll say that too. Shut the door. That's what it means. So, picking up his dialect, you have to read it aloud. It sounds better than when you're reading it. Okay? What?
It hears better when you read.
It hears better. It sounds better. You understand it. You comprehend it better. Sorry, it hears better. All right, we don't have a lot of time, so I have a whole bunch of things we have to do. I have to move on. Questions, clarifications. Tomorrow you should have through, where's your calendar? Who has it out? Tomorrow you should have through 15? 1 through 15. Tomorrow I think what we have is we have a hat quiz. And a hat quiz, or it's a box quiz, where we play like, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? You go through, you pick one. If you get it right, you get 10 points. If you don't, you have to go through again, and the next time you only get a chance at 8 points. And after that, if you don't get it right, then you go to 7 points. But then I think you can phone a friend. Or you can poll the audience. And when they phone a friend, it's up to you, friend, whether you're going to be a friend or not. How convincing are you if you tell them the right thing or the wrong thing? So it's up to you. Okay, so tomorrow, 9 through, isn't it? Who's got the calendar out?
No, it's just from page 1 to 113.
Yeah, that's it. 12 through 15. Who started? Who hasn't started?
I haven't started, but...
I'm on chapter 3.5.
Chapter 3.5?
No, I missed the part where you said read. I'm like,
You blame Miss Collins? I apologize. Maybe we'll work with it a bit tomorrow. We'll see what we can do tomorrow.
you should read like chapter 10.
Okay, here we go. I told you on today that you guys are going to write a stretcher, remember? You know what a stretcher is? I know, you're supposed to have an MLA test today. Okay, a stretcher. What are some stretchers that Huck has told? What are some stretchers that Huck has told? Has Huck told any stretchers yet? What? Come on, Drew. What's he told? What about when he killed himself? He's killing himself and he's trying to find a new identity. So that's a stretcher. Okay. You're going to try your hand at stretching here. You have an opportunity to be a twain. And your stretchers can be telling your parents why you missed curfew. Do like some of these. Telling a story about your grade school days. Or telling Mr. Blushens why you're... Yeah. Some of them are the worst. These are due on Tuesday, February 19th, and in fact, that's Friday, February 19th. I switched up the date and didn't switch up the day itself. Friday, February 19th. Now, what I have is a couple of them. Next one. This is one written by a student of mine, some of these were handwritten. That's how old they were, handwritten. This one is one I thought you'll like. And at that time, our attendance officer was Mrs. Reichert. It says, I'm sorry that I'm late, but you see, Mrs. Reichert, I had a bit of difficulty getting to school this morning. I guess that it started when I got up, as I do every day, at 4 in the morning so that I could be at the orphanage by 4:45 to start breakfast. While I readied the children for school, I had to read Bill, you know, the boy with the broken sternum, his daily scripture from the good book. After reading him Nehemiah 10:9, I started off for school. About halfway to school, I stopped to help an old veteran from the Second World War renew his library book. And upon returning to my car, I was jumped and assaulted by a band of renegade Hells Angels. I was ruthlessly beaten for nearly 20 minutes by 3/4-inch pipes and steel logging chains, and then left to die in a dumpster behind the village pantry. I willed myself to go on. I decided it would be best to go inside and call for help. As soon as I stepped into the store, it was taken hostage by a band of 8 Cuban guerrillas, 2 neo-Nazis, and a nun who was wanted for money laundering. Amazingly enough, I escaped unscathed just in time to see the 22nd Church of Buddha, only 2 blocks down, had erupted into flames. I rushed to the scene, and as I was pulling out the last member of the woman's auxiliary group, the building collapsed, and a piece of fiery insulation came loose and struck me on the leg. After stopping, dropping, and rolling, I hitchhiked in a 1976 burnt umber Ford Fiesta and came straight here to have lunch and to go to 6th hour. Could I have a pass? Okay, this is what you want. Why is this good? Why is this funny? So many what, Lori?
Two things in it, like they didn't just say one thing, they said like 8 different
Multiple, but also there is a modicum of truth in a lot of it. You know, just like reading the scripture, instead of just saying reading the scripture, he even gave the book, Nehemiah 10:9. He gave the example from there. And then he talked about how he was beaten. He didn't just say he was beat up by neo-Nazis or he was beat up by the Hells Angels. They used pipe wrench and 1/4-inch logging chains. And then they didn't just leave him. Where'd they leave him? The dumpster, the village pantry. So we have lots of little minute details. Who beat you up?
He has a baseball.
Oh, dang, that hurt. All right, here's another one who wrote in the vernacular, and I love this one. It's hard for me to read, but I'm going to try to. This one is very Twainish, very clever. I's awful sorry about how late I am, Ma, but you see I found myself stuck deep as a stump and no ways out. I was on my way home because I knowed how you were wanting me home before dark, and I come across old John Farmer trying to get his pig unstuck. See, about 5 weeks ago, his old sow was getting mighty wearisome, so old Farmer thought he'd do her some good to turn her out. Well, he weren't a-figuring on all this rain these other night, and when he woke up this morning, darn it, that old sow was stuck up to its ears in mud. I knowed right off why 'tis was. Come a few Sundays back, he give a forked stick a kick, and it went right into the church well. Well, everybody knowed that is worst kind of luck. So I was on my way home, and I saw he weren't having any luck at all, so I says to myself, Ma'd be mighty proud if she could come and find out I helped old Farmer get his sow unstuck. Well, we got to reckoning with ourselves, and then it come to me that we need to do the old butter the sow, and like a Sunday cob. We got her so slick, I thought she'd slip right through the earth. Well, I was in a mighty bit of disappointment when that old sow didn't budge. About when old Farmer and I was ready to give up, it hit me like a boat full of steam down the Mississippi River. So I asked Farmer if he had an 80-pound sack of pepper and a fishing pole. Well, we put that pepper on a pole and dangled it in front of that old sow, and darned if she didn't sneeze herself plumb up onto the moon. Well, then all we had to do was wait for the sun to come up and the moon to fall, and we'd snatch her right off. As soon as we did, I come right home because I might get tired. Now, is that Mark Twain? Was that not clever? I know, isn't that great, though?
Yeah.
How clever. And that came out of a student. Yeah, I love this one. And that is very hard to read, but I thought they did a great job. And then this one talks about Benny Van Shetty, the biggest 3rd grader they ever had. And back then, they used to have to pay to ride on the school bus. And back in the good old days, and they talked about Benny Van Shetty, and they were going up a hill one day, and the bus could not make it up the hill, so what they had to do is they had to get out and push, and they got Benny Van Shetty, and he pushed the bus up the hill. So that was kind of clever, too. Very Mark Twainish. This is what I'm looking for. Gotcha. I have a ton more examples if you'd like to read some of the examples. But I always am hoping that someday I'll get one from you guys that I can continue on from years to come to keep reading. Got it? Got it. All right. I have one more thing. How much time do we have?
4 minutes to save the world.
What? How much more time? I don't know either. 11:33? 43? Okay, I think we can do it. Do you remember on Life on the Mississippi when